And that lady tells me that it's in progress, Buff. So we are good when you are.
From the shores of Malibu, where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China and back to the streets of Las Vegas, where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about, but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry. We'll voice it for you. It's no holds barred radio, folks. We talk about everything on It's Time. And right now this week, we have my co-host, my partner, TJ DeSantis. TJ, another week by, another week to go. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm actually in Las Vegas. I think our guest might live here as well.
I think our guest too. So let's go on because I'm very excited about our guest, a longtime friend, an amazing fighter, an amazing role model in so many different ways. Let's bring on the former Strikeforce Women's Bantamweight Champion and the former UFC Women's Bantamweight Champion, Miesha Cupcake Tate. Hi, Miesha.
That never gets old. I love it, Bruce.
Nope, years and years and years. It never gets old for me. The hair still stands up in my arm when I say it, so I know I'm happy to say it every time I can.
Well,
Miesha,
thank you guys for having me. And yes, TJ, I am in Vegas. Welcome. It's definitely chilly. The winter weather has arrived.
I'm not kidding you guys. I thought I was going to die when I landed here on Tuesday. It was insane winds, like 45-mile-an-hour winds. We landed fine, but unfortunately, an elderly person actually had a heart attack on my plane because of the stress that they went through. So gnarly. I'm happy to be here. We're good though.
Did you jump up to perform some CPR there, TJ?
No. I was trying to compose myself after almost throwing up in that little air sick bag, to be honest with you.
All right. Well, there's the great way to start the show right there.
Hey, Miesha, if you're not busy tonight, you should come down to the UFC Apex. We got the Fight Pass Invitational going on.
Oh, what is that about?
It is a 4-team tournament with 4 like UFC Fight Pass promotions, like LFA is one, CFFC is one. They have 4 team members, and they square off in a sort of quintet style, survival tournament.
How fun! Give me the information. I might be able to make it happen.
Now come on down. Benson Henderson, former UFC lightweight champion, takes on Ben Saunders in the sort of main event super fight as well.
Wait, is this an actual MMA fight?
It's not an MMA fight. It's a grappling event.
Grappling event. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
It's amazing how these grappling events have evolutionized because, I was doing EBI for years. You've been doing it for years, much longer than me. They're very exciting. Miesha, what's really exciting about these grappling tournaments is when they're combat grappling, when they can have the open hand pancrase strikes.
Right. Yeah. That definitely changes things. Some people are just not okay with getting hit and functioning under that kind of pressure. It adds a totally different element, a lot more heat and nerves, I think, when you know that you can sustain real damage, like getting hit in your face. Some people just can't do it.
Yeah, Eddie Bravo calls it like keeping jiu-jitsu honest. You know what I mean? And I think there's a lot of truth to that. But, as far as grappling is concerned, Bruce, Miesha's no stranger to that as a practitioner, but also she called one of the quintets here in the United States. So she's been in the commentary booth for that as well.
Miesha does a great job on commentary. That's one thing, Miesha, you've been working so hard at fighting and accomplishing so much and getting better every time, we're going to go into your last fight and such. But the fact that you think beyond your guns, I always say this, it's so, so important. I mean, your YouTube channel that you have out now, your radio show, what is the title of your radio show again, please?
So we recently launched a new show called Throwing Down with Renee and Miesha, and that's Renee Paquette. She covered a lot of the pro wrestling world before joining me on the more sports covering side through SiriusXM. So we have that show every Monday from 2 to 5 Eastern time. And it's been a lot of fun. She's a hoot. She is really funny. She's definitely the comedy side of the show, but she adds a lot of flavor, and we just really hit it off. So we got a good thing going. And I think anybody who would want to tune in and listen to it, I think you will enjoy the 3 hours that we spend every Monday together.
Miesha's like a renaissance person, Bruce. You mentioned like thinking beyond her guns. Like she's very much more than just a fighter.
Oh, trust me. I've known that for years. I mean, you want to go into the beautiful part about it. Not that all the parts are not beautiful, but the fact that you're a mom, with two children, if I'm not right, it's a Maya and Daxton. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
Yeah. How old are they now?
Thank you. Amaya is 3.5 and Daxton is 18 months. And actually this morning I dropped him off for his first day of school. Had to definitely shed a tear for that because my babies are they're kind of growing up. So we're starting out small, probably like 2 days a week, half days. But we're just so busy too. Truthfully, we needed the help. We don't have full-time help, so it's a strain between the rest of us. And I always think, oh, after this fight, I'm gonna have so much more time to get all this stuff done. And I just end up like doing the other things that I wasn't able to do as much of before, and catching up on housework and taking care of the kids and being more involved as mommy, because that's a big part that kind of has to a little bit fall to the wayside. I mean, I definitely try to stay always incorporated with my kids, but let's be honest, when I'm in a training camp, a lot of that time and focus has to be on myself and my fitness and my diet. And so I rely on other people to help me a lot with my kids. And as soon as the fight's over, I kind of step back into that role, and I'm like, where did all this extra time go that I thought I was going to have now that I'm not in training camp? So we needed the help.
I think what you're saying is you're saying a mother's work is never done.
Seriously,
Never.
Seriously, never done.
No, I think about fighters having to be supremely selfish to get through, a training camp and be the best that they can be. But, a mother is sort of the cornerstone of a household. And Miesha, I can't imagine what it must be like to, prepare like, a yummy meal for your kids when you're in camp and you can't eat it. You're not allowed to indulge. That's got to be difficult.
Oh, I try to keep my kids pretty healthy. It's not them I have to worry about. It's Johnny. He's my partner. He's my candy snacking man that I've got to worry about, So he's the one that's definitely usually eating the more tempting foods than my kiddos. I try to keep them pretty healthy.
Johnny Nunez. Let me make a quick comment. You guys were both at 269 sitting behind me. You make a really handsome couple. You make a really nice looking couple.
I think so. I definitely got a keeper, and he gave me 2 of the most adorable babies I've ever seen. So I'm a lucky woman.
On that tip, Bruce, on UFC Fight Pass, there's this documentary that came out right before Miesha fought her last fight against Ketlin Vieira. It's called Miesha Tate 2.0, and you get like an insightful look to her family and Johnny and the kids, and it's like you said, Bruce, it's an adorable sort of little family unit they have.
It's like a beautiful couple. Wonderful mother, 2 beautiful children, and she kicks ass. Holy hell, awesome. I was going to say make a movie about it, but Halle Berry just came out with a movie about a mother, becoming an MMA fighter, but not quite the same story as Miesha's story.
I would like the Miesha Tate movie. That would be a good biopic.
There is no reason it can't be done. God knows you got enough history, Miesha. I could see a biopic on your life any time of day, any day of the year.
Maybe before it's all said and done, maybe I should probably start with the book, which I've been saying for years. Eventually I want to do that. And I've made absolutely no steps towards doing it. So I need to get it together if I'm going to do that. But I do have a story. And that reminds me that I have been telling it a little bit on my recently launched YouTube channel. I never really let my fans in before. They always saw Miesha Tate the fighter. And in this second chapter, I'm so much more comfortable and complete with who I am that I've really wanted to let people in. So if you follow me on YouTube, the links are all over my Instagram, but I've started to put together these different kinds of stories. And we even do like a segment a week where it just kind of tells the whole story of my family and dynamic, and just gives people different insight, like different look inside of my life and what I am beyond just the fighter. Obviously that's a big part of it, but there's other big parts now, and I want to share it with the world.
When you do that, Miesha, I wrote my book like 9 years ago, whenever it was. One thing I learned when I did that, Random House published my biography. You got to reach in, you got to put your heart on the table, let it all fly, right? No hesitation.
No,
Open
it makes
book.
sense.
Totally.
It does.
If you don't do that, then you're not justifying yourself or justifying your readers. You want to make sure you put it all out there.
It feels like such a big project to write a book, but I think everyone says you just start small and you just jot down important things or notes or get conversations with other people. I don't know. How long did it take you to write your book?
Well, I had it already pre-written to a large extent, but what I did is that I got with my agent and my publisher, got me with a best-selling couple that writes books. Okay. So what we did is that I literally talked the book to them on the phone. And I would say in total, probably over the course of 10 to 20 hours of conversation, they wrote it all down. We wrote it in sequence. I outlined it, then we talked about it, wrote it down, then they sent it to me and I edited it. And after about the 8th editing.
You delegated. See, that's what I need to do, Bruce. I
Well,
need
I
to
always say the
delegate.
secret of success is
That's not-
delegation, but it's still you. If you're talking the book and they're writing it down,
For
and
sure,
maybe they can
for
add,
sure.
it's your book, and then you're going to have to edit it. And let me tell you something. My dad was a writer, and I read his books when he wrote them. But every time you sit down to reread a book before you publish it, you're going to keep changing things. There's going to come a point where it's like, I'm done. This is it. I'm done. Let it go to press, and then just hope for
Right.
the best. Like
Well,
that.
especially too when you're writing a book about your life and your life's not over. You know what I mean? So like every month that goes by while you're writing this thing, it's like, wait, should I have this? You know, do I need to look back at that? And yeah, that's the other thing too. We're talking about a potential, biopic for Miesha Tate. Like the story's not over.
Well, the thing about the book, Miesha, is that you'll be outlining your life at that point. So if it does go into a film biopic, you've already pre-written the script, you know? So
Yeah.
right now I'm working on a similar situation for myself. I can't really talk about it right now, although I just did a little bit. But the book is an outline. It's an outline to your life. And right now, 9 years later, my book was titled It's Time. Now I'm ready to write another one called It's Time Again. I mean, it's just,
It's been a decade, Bruce.
it's been almost a decade, if not a
Oh my
decade. Yeah.
God,
Crazy.
wow.
I know.
My-
Not so,
my-
but
my
enough
name's
about
on
me.
the last
Forget about
page,
me.
by the
This is
way.
Misha's hour.
I'm just saying, you dropped my name on the last page of the book. So.
I love hearing about it, Bruce. I really appreciate the insight and the knowledge. You are a very smart man, and you've diversified your life, your content, and your career successes. So I'm always happy to pick your brain.
Thank you. Well, you can call me anytime. You know that. So anytime you need my help, it's open door. Open
Hey,
door.
real quick, I want to ask you, Miesha, obviously you've been in the public spotlight for a very long time. We've followed your career. I remember watching you fight in that hook and shoot tournament. Today, where you're at now and the ups and downs that you've gone through, what is it like to be, more open and vulnerable? Do you think you could have been this open with the public, in the earlier part of your career? Because like you said, I think you've really let a lot of people in. And when you do that, you expose yourself to, at times, a pretty cruel world.
I don't think that I would have been able to be as open as I am now because I was putting on a large front. I was kind of embarrassed a lot of times of what would happen behind closed doors, and I didn't want people to see the truth. So I hid a lot of that, and I projected what I thought people would want to see. And maybe that's now that just dawned on me that you remember the Ultimate Fighter when Rana and her crew and everybody were always saying, oh, she's fake, she's fake, she's fake. It's not that maybe that's what they were picking up on, is that I wasn't truthfully happy, and they saw maybe a couple of the other things that would happen, and they kind of saw a little of the dynamic. And I don't know, I mean, it's not, I think that was a harsh way to put it, but perhaps it was because I was shielding a lot of what I allowed the public to see, as opposed to what just truthfully letting people in on everything, even my imperfections and things like that. It was hard to be entirely secure with my situation when it was a lot of times really painful and was really difficult. And it was, you don't want to let the world in on those deepest, darkest moments. You're very vulnerable. And I think I was just trying to protect myself from those moments of vulnerability, from the whole world seeing it, because I don't think I could have taken on anything else or anything more negative. And sometimes the world can be really harsh and really cruel, but I'm so happy with how I've been able to open up and show people more of my life a lot through YouTube, and even on my social media. I've been able to open up and tell more of my story because I'm in a place now where I don't really have anything to hide. I'm not a perfect human being. I'm not gonna always be saying things that people like. I'm always gonna have an opinion, and it's gonna be controversial, and I'm totally okay with that because I'm at peace. I'm sound with who I am, where I'm at in life. And if people don't like it, it doesn't bother me. It's not really going to take anything away from what I'm doing. I'm going to continue to live my life the way that I want to. And I think finding happiness, finding your purpose in life, those are such key elements to really being comfortable, being able to tell and share your story and be open with not just the people close to you, but the people that you don't know that may just judge you for the wrong reasons. And to not care about that is very liberating.
Just that 2 minutes of dissertation and retrospective look at yourself just shows the kind of fine human being that you are. You could have easily turned that question around and blamed everything on Rhonda, for the way that she treated you, and you didn't. You put it on yourself. You took responsibility for yourself. That's the mark of a fine human being, is that you judge yourself and you're open and you're willing to just look in the mirror and say, hey, this is me. You
But
know,
Right.
good for you, Miesha. Good for you.
isn't
you.
that
Thank you.
almost ultimate freedom as well, when you can be yourself and you can look at
Right.
your fans who not only accept you but celebrate you, and that's the thing, Miesha. I've always been a fan of your fighting career, but the ability to see more of who you are as a human being, and actually getting to work with you, it's made me a much bigger fan, because you aren't fake. Like, I think you're a very genuine human being, and for fans on the outside looking in, to be able to see some of those moments. We live in a time now where we can honestly be connected through social media, and really have almost virtual relationships with people that we would never ever meet otherwise, and the fact that you own that, and I honestly think that you have this entire new fan base that probably wasn't either a fan of Miesha Tate, say 10 years ago, or B, as big of a fan, if they were, in today's space. Like, you're an inspiration in a way that you allow people to see not only your successes and celebrate them, but also your struggles.
Well,
I appreciate that. I really do.
Go ahead, Miesha.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that I was guarded before, and now I've been able to let down that guard and really find my footing in my life, who I am, and what I want to be, what I want to project out to the rest of the world. And a lot of that, truthfully, is just being myself. It doesn't even have to be something that I think that the world wants to see, or how I think that people want to be, or hiding the parts of my life that I don't want people to be involved in. It's like, I can just be and put that out to the world. And it's like, take it or leave it. Love me or hate me, like me or don't. I don't know. I don't truthfully really care. I just want to put on good fights. I want people to be entertained by what I do. And if they can find an interest or appreciation for the rest of my life, and being a mother of two, and being a busy person, and trying to take on all the other, just conquering life. I just want to, that's what I want to do, and what I want to be, and the message I want to send to everyone else, and whatever their respective goals are, to just get after it, and to be yourself.
Thank you, Miesha. As the saying goes, say whatever you want about me, just spell my name correctly,
Exactly.
I've always said it on the show, and I say it almost every week, when I look at fine UFC fighters and great warriors like yourself, and it's not just how you perform in the octagon, it's how you handle yourself outside the octagon, to make yourself a well-rounded individual, and to be a role model to your sphere of influence, which is the UFC fans that are watching. So thank you for being that role model, and just getting better and better at it as time goes on. You stepped out of fighting. You went into being a VP for the One Championship. You're doing all the other stuff you're doing. Real briefly, what happened in One Championship? Just didn't work out, or what was the deal there?
Well, basically, the UFC doesn't play nice with others. And when I said I wanted to come back, when I told them I wanted to come back, it was just kind of on the understanding that, okay, that you have to have loyalty to one organization or the other. You can't play both sides of the fence. And I totally understood that. Without the UFC, there's no doubt that nobody would know my name, spell it right or spell it wrong. They wouldn't know me. And, One Championship would never have been an option for me in all likelihood, if I didn't already have a name that was built off of the UFC. So ultimately my loyalty lies there. And they were, One Championship was very understanding and very supportive. So nothing was negative in that light. It just was, this is what I want to do, and this is what I'm going to do. And we just had to make the adjustments along the way to make that happen.
Very cool. It's interesting. Did you like the corporate world? Did you enjoy that change?
I did enjoy it, but it was much more difficult than I had anticipated. I'm not a CEO. I'm not a business person of a company in that way. I think of things differently. I always am athlete first. And I tend to butt heads sometimes with people who come from the other side, who want to go and get an interview in the locker room right before a fighter walks out. And I'm the person to be like, no, we can't do that. That's not okay. It's not acceptable. It's like, these athletes need to be athletes first, and the other stuff needs to kind of fall around or fall in place. And not that I got a ton of pushback for that, but I also am just somebody who, I hate seeing any athlete in a position of having Like I stood up a lot. I stand up a lot for the athletes, and I just come from the other side of things. And so that was different for me to be on one side, but feel like I'm still on the other, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. I
No,
definitely don't
you're
want to paint a picture that it was like so terrible or these things, but any little problem, I'm always looking to communicate with the athletes first and make it better for them, even if it's at the inconvenience of the people on the other side, you know, the officials and everybody having to kind of cater to the athletes. That was always what I was pushing for.
No, it's understandable. I mean, basically, you're a fighter first and foremost. You've got an
Right.
emotional response to the fighters that you're taking care of in your organization. It's very hard sometimes to separate that and be a corporate leader, as
Right.
well as, you know, being in there as being a coach and of the fighter mentality you are. Totally understandable, Miesha.
But I
Totally
think the insight that you probably, took from that experience makes you, much better as far as a business person is moving forward. And I've seen you, Miesha, with some athletes that you've helped out. Like, I think you could be, if you want to divorce yourself from being an active competitor, I think you could be one of the top agents in mixed martial arts as well, because you mentioned that athlete first mindset. Like, you'll go to war for the people that you take care of.
Absolutely. I'm always going to be fighter first. I know how much sacrifice goes into what we do, and I've been there firsthand, and I've seen it secondhand so many times, so many ways. You know, Juliana Pena is a great example of somebody who deserved to touch gold before all was said and done, because she's paid her dues, and I was really happy for her. But it's those experiences that I definitely draw on, and it definitely forges my opinion more strongly for the athlete, because I've been there, and it's just that you can never take that away. You could never, you could never take those experiences away from me. So I'm always going to draw on those and lean on those first and foremost. But I would say my experience over with One Championship, I would think where I gained the most was really a lot of respect for the media and what they have, well, how to cover that, and the amount of dedication and work that it takes to really give a good interview. I mean, you can do run-of-the-mill interviews, all day long. You can ask the same questions everybody else asks, but to really have some individuality and to really be able to have a conversation during the interview, these kinds of things, that was really interesting to me, because I hadn't really been on the other side much, to be the person asking the questions,
Right.
really trying to have those genuine conversations and not just be thinking about what was the 1 through 10 questions I had written down before this interview started. It's like, really was interesting to me to see the other side and be on that side and have to deliver on that side.
What also gave you an appreciation of what that side has to deal with too.
Absolutely.
You might have criticized it before, and now you have more of an understanding of what you were criticizing falsely or positively before.
Well,
So we all don't know what we do until we get in there and do it. Everybody's a critic, but did you do what you're criticizing? That's the
Right.
whole point. You criticize me as a fighter. Did you ever fight? I criticize you as a corporate leader running the UFC or another organization. Have I ever run that? It's
Well,
So-
one thing that I will say, guys, on that tip is, I've been able to work in quote unquote the media side of mixed martial arts now for like 15 years. And I hate doing pre-fight interviews because they're stuffy. People are very guarded. It's a battle in its own right. But, you mentioned something, Miesha, that I think is the most important thing, that if there's any sort of aspiring media person watching this, is a really good interview is not an interview at all. It's a conversation. And some athletes will fight you on engaging you in a conversation because, they're preparing for a fight and they, want to focus on themselves rather than doing, media obligations. But if you can have conversations with people, I think like we're having right now, that's what a real good interview is.
I think so too.
Speaking of a good interview, let's take this something we have to talk about. Miesha was behind me, like I said, at UFC 269 with Johnny and getting into the fights like crazy. Juliana Pena, a 6-1 underdog, going up against the GOAT, still a GOAT in her own right, of course, Amanda Nunes, and fighting the fight that she fought was an unbelievable thing to watch. You were going out of your mind in your chair. You were up you were going crazy. I'm going to say one thing, and I've said it. I mean, I can say so many things about this fight. And knowing Juliana the way I do over the years, mentally, her fortitude, I really believe she had a tremendous shot at winning this fight. And that's what it took, was heart and soul getting in there. But this was an example of the jab. The jab
100%.
won this fight. And I've been saying it forever. The jab sets everything up in boxing. It sets everything up in mixed martial arts, whether it's the takedown or you name it. And Juliana Pena, like George St. Pierre, proved that the jab works.
Yep.
Am I wrong?
No, it was the jab. And I recognized that right away in the second round. I was like, man, it's her jab. She's taking the right hand away with her jab. And it was so perfect. It was very long and jousting. It wasn't a traditional, technically sound boxing jab, and I love it for those reasons that it wasn't. That it was perfectly imperfect. It was perfect for MMA. It was perfect for fighting Amanda. It was elbow high. It was protection from the right hand coming over. Her shoulders were up, covering the tops of her ears pretty much. When she's throwing that jab and the elbow, and she never brought it back to her face, because the reason why is because anytime that you go in and out with your punches, a lot of times you naturally hit something, and if you pull it back, it naturally drops a little bit. There's just that opening for the right hand to time in reverse. But if it's just staying out there and it's up high, there's never really a time for that right hand to take precedence over the jab, at least in this case. And she had great movement that was in and out. She kind of rocked back onto her power leg, and she just jousted that and jabbed, and she turned it into a power shot jab repetitively without having to reload it. And it just didn't help Amanda in any way for being able to get that very, very devastating and dangerous right hand of hers going.
One thing I want to say about that too, Miesha, with that jab, is because I saw some people talking about how Amanda gassed, and I don't think Amanda gassed. I think Amanda was broken. I think mentally she was broken. Physically, she was probably tired because she was beyond frustrated. And, that is the thing that, Bruce, you've talked about this for years on the show. The most underutilized strike in mixed martial arts is the jab. And like you said, Miesha, it's not, fundamentally the most sound technical jab that Juliana had. But if it had been more, quote unquote, orthodox, I don't know if it would have been as effective as it was.
Probably not. When I trained kickboxing to the level that I trained, I would go even an hour just training only the jab. That's it. Just the jab. You can throw it from every different direction. The other thing is, as far as your own personal energy, dissipating energy, you don't have to put a lot behind the jab. You just put it out there. Let them walk into it. It's a frustrating thing to deal with if you're using it correctly, doubling, tripling up. I was just so impressed. And when I saw that happening way before the end of the fight, I could see that the fight was turning, as we all could, having an eye for fights.
Think about this. I think Amanda Nunes closed at, minus 1,100 as a favorite. I don't know what the live line was to start the second round. I'm sure it was much higher than that, but the MMA world and the betting world was turned upside down after those started to land. It was crazy.
It is the same as when Holly Holm came out against Ronda, and it was 20-1. I don't bet fights, but I told people, I go, are you kidding? That Holly Holm bet is the greatest bet in the world. I told people too, Juliana Pena, when she was 6-1, was an incredible bet. I mean, why do you want to bet $100 to win $15? No,
seriously.
You want to bet $100 to win 600, or in this case, 1,100, whatever.
Some guy talking about how he laid down 80 grand on Amanda Nunes. Like, man, I hate to be that guy today.
Well, let's give Juliana all the credit in the world. It's just fantastic. And what's going to go on here, Miesha? Is going to be a time when you and Juliana, I mean, obviously they're going to make the rematch. I'm sure they're going to make the rematch.
We have time to see how the landscape of this division is going to change. So I'm just going to take it with stride. I'm looking to fight maybe in March or April. So I'm not in a rush at this point. Really happy to see Juliana get her belt. I'm excited for her to get a big payday. I think she likely beats Amanda in a rematch because she just has the will to win. And if you don't beat her with a superior skill set, you will not beat her with heart and determination. And as I said time and time again before that fight, that Juliana has the style to beat Amanda. She has the ability to put Amanda in the places she hasn't been in a long time. And she drug her into deep waters, and that happened faster than I thought it was going to. I thought it was going to boil down to, round 3 and beyond, but her getting it done in round 2, I think was what was the most impressive part of all of it. It wasn't the fact that she got it done. It was how fast she got it done. So anyways, I see that rematch happening. If Julie wins again, I plan to have a win under my belt at that point. But I'm going to try to avoid Julie. I don't want to fight one of my friends. But we always agreed that it would be for the title if there would be, that fight, if it ever happened, it would only be for gold. So we just have to see how everything changes between now and then. So we'll see. That rematch will happen. I'm probably still 2 fights away. Let's be realistic. I think I should put 2 together before I'm talking about a title fight. And anything can happen between now and then. So we'll see how that all goes down. But I think Julie wins the rematch. Then I think that's done, and Julie will have another opponent to face, and then we'll check in with ourselves again at that point.
Simple prediction. I'll say it again. Money talks and people fight. Okay. It comes down to that. It's going to be a big money fight.
Yeah.
Friend or not, time to go to war.
Well, yeah. I also think that Juliana and yourself, Miesha, could put, a friendship aside for a fight and probably pick that back up, whatever happens.
I think so too. I just, I've never had to fight somebody that I was close to outside of that. And I would definitely, if I had to do it, I know I have the ability to do it because I made a career out of compartmentalizing and putting the shit that doesn't matter outside the box and focusing only on this box. But I don't want to, I struggle at this point to think about being that person to go in there and try to take her out when all I've wanted to do her whole career was build her up. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not what I want to do, but if it's what I need to do, if I'm choosing between, my family and their well-being and my career and my dreams, I think that she would understand that as well. So I hope it's just a bridge we don't have to cross. But if it is, then I guess we'll have to talk about it and make that decision when we get there.
I also
when
think
you get there and you go to war, and after it's all over, we're all going to get together after, and we're all going to drink Puncher's Chance, and we're going to talk about what life is all about. Okay. We will celebrate victory and win and defeat because you're professionals, you're friends, you're class acts. And that's what this game is all about. It's a job, It's
not personal. I mean, absolutely. If her and I did end up fighting, that's, the bottom line is that it's not personal, and it's no ill will towards either one of us. And, we'll care about each other just the same after. But hey, hopefully, I'm hoping it's a bridge that we don't have to cross. I would prefer not to have to fight Julie, but again, if it's what has to happen at the end of the day, if we're at this point still.
TJ?
I think I froze out there a little bit, unfortunately, on my side. But real quick, I was just going to say, I think, wrestlers have that mindset of competition. We'll get Miesha back. Something's happening here, the internet.
Okay.
But, on that tippers, I think wrestlers come from that mindset where, if you're on a wrestling team, you got to earn that spot, and you have to compete against your teammates to earn that spot. And, I understand that fighting in mixed martial arts, when you're, kicking and kneeing and elbowing, it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more personal than, say, just trying to pin your opponent's shoulders to the mat. But wrestlers especially, they seem to be the ones that, seem to be okay with it. Miesha is disconnected. We'll try to get her back. But, real quick, I want to talk about the Amanda Nunes fight because, Miesha said that she's, pretty confident that Juliana Penny will win that rematch. Amanda's going to open up as the favorite. There's no doubt about it. She still will be the favorite in the rematch. But I think we can agree that in that first meeting, Juliana Pena broke Amanda Nunes. My question, Bruce, is can Amanda really repair herself to get to where she was coming into this fight? Granted, she was broken in the fight, but do you think she can get that mindset back to where she's the Amanda Nunes that has proven to be the greatest of all time?
Well, I think in respect to the fact that the individual that Amanda is, when you look at where she came from to get where she is, I really believe that she can bring up the intestinal fortitude to do that. It's going to be a bit of a task. You walk around and you're the GOAT, and she still is the GOAT to a very large extent.
Yeah, the legacy is still as
the legacy is
to enter the octagon. Sure,
anybody can lose on any given day. Okay,
right. Yeah,
and it's all a matter of a personal. It's going to be a personal journey on her part. But to answer your question, I believe that she will. I'm sure she's going through what she's going through now.
Yep,
but I believe that she will. That's the best way I can put it.
Yeah, and
I don't see a weak ego there. I don't see I see a very constructive ego. It's not a conceited ego that can get damaged very easily. And I think she has the inner strength to do it.
She had to be devastated, obviously,
Oh,
in defeat. But
well,
Bruce, she got on the mic with Joe Rogan and, was very clear that she, wasn't done and wanted to fight again. And
yeah,
you think about, dealing with something like that. Like, very few people in the world will ever attain the success that Amanda Nunes has in their lifetime, and then to stumble in a very public and visible way, but to maintain the composure necessary to talk about it instantly and come off the way that she did. To me, that's the mark of a champion.
I agree. I know we lost Miesha. Hopefully she can come back on. We're going to go on to a couple other things, but regarding 269, exactly what we're talking about, look in the intestinal fortitude of a longtime fighter like Dominic Cruz.
Oh,
Look
man.
at the battle that Dominic Cruz had last Saturday night and how he came on top. Incredible. I want to give him
hurt so badly in that fight. Like, I thought he was possibly going to get knocked out, to be honest with you.
He was halfway, if not more so there on one or two times, but credit to Dominic Cruz, credit to all the warriors that put it on the line Saturday night. Cody Garbrandt in loss against Kai Kara France. Brilliant fight against Cody Garbrandt. Sean O'Malley, nobody can question Sean O'Malley. Nobody can say anything about Sean O'Malley. His name was etched in UFC stone on Saturday night. He took out Raulian Paiva, very tough fighter. And Sean O'Malley should be coming down to the top 10 rankings very soon. And Dana White commented he wants big fights. He wants big money. You know what? Give it to him. Give it to all of them as far as I'm concerned, but give it to him.
O'Malley is very forward minded in his career and how he's approaching things. And, sometimes that rubs people the wrong way, because I feel like, Sean sort of respects himself in a manner where, not that he has a sense of entitlement, but he knows what he wants and he knows how he wants to get there. And sometimes that can be frustrating, especially for management and matchmakers. But, so far so good. Raulian Paiva was honestly one of the toughest fights that they could have made for Sean without, going much higher in the rankings. And, I don't know. We'll see. O'Malley talks a lot, but he does so in a way where I understand what he's saying. I think it might rub people the wrong way, but this is the fight business. If people don't like it, someone needs to shut him up. And so far, so good for Sean O'Malley thus far in the octagon.
It's the hurt business, and you look at Tui Tuivasa, 4 wins in a row now in the octagon, fighting a tough opponent in Augusto Sakai. Kudos to him. Kudos to everybody. Sorry, Matt Schnell didn't fight. I was looking forward to the Schnell Perez fight.
I was really excited for that.
Aaron Blanchfield, Miranda Maverick. What can you say?
Real
Warriors.
Quick, Aaron Blanchfield might be one of the most intriguing up and coming prospects in the UFC. Her first fight, I thought she won all 3 rounds, 10-8. Miranda Maverick is a phenomenal fighter, has wonderful Brazilian jiu-jitsu technique, and is also one of the strongest women pound for pound in mixed martial arts. And the way that Aaron Blanchfield was able to control that and make Miranda fight her fight, incredibly impressive.
And of course, Charles Oliveira, Dustin Poirier. I threw some extra sauce on my announcement on this night of fights. It was so much fun.
The ground, Bruce. I saw you get air.
I did. More than once.
Yeah, and how could you not? I was in the building in T-Mobile on Saturday, and the energy and the electricity. Granted, we've had big fights there this year during this COVID era, but Saturday night in Las Vegas in that building, they even turned it up a higher notch. I felt like it was bigger, honestly, than when Dustin fought Connor.
I feel like it was too. Miesha just texted me. Sorry, guys, her internet's still shutting down. She's going to try and bounce back on maybe in about 5 more minutes to say goodbye to us.
Yeah.
So just so you know, it was just an internet thing on Miesha's side, but we'll get her back on hopefully. You know what? Last event of the year for me, biggest pay-per-view of the year in many respects. Great way to end the year. Of course, we have the event happening this Saturday. I will not be announcing this Saturday. This is officially the last UFC with Derek Lewis and Chris Daukaus going at it in the heavyweight division, and Stephen Thompson and Bilal Muhammad. That'll be very interesting to fight.
That is really, really good.
And Angela Hill's back for the 40th time this year against Amanda Lemos.
Only 40? I think it might be 50 at this point.
Kudos to her. Angela's so cool.
She's getting it, man. You know, and that's, you know, we talk about that window of, you know, the prime of any athlete's career being so short in mixed martial arts. And, you know, you got to credit Donald Cerrone, who, by the way, makes his combat jiu-jitsu debut coming up Sunday in Cancun. But guys like Donald Cerrone and, you know, I've heard people call Angela Hill the female cowboy, like, you know, they're ready to go. You know, they got their passport in hand and they'll go wherever the fight takes them.
Exactly. And you know, this card is really good. Justin Taffa, Henry Hunsaker, Darren Elkins, Cub Swanson, Darren Elkins, Ricky Simon, Rafael Assunção.
It's a solid way to the year for the UFC to say the least.
The third prelims, Raquel Pennington against Miesha Tate, which is 10th and 8th women's. Yeah, that's the third. That's the third prelim.
Wow, that's a main card fight in my opinion. So
totally,
that's phenomenal. I already teased it a little bit with Donald Cerrone making his combat jiu-jitsu debut on Sunday. Uriah Faber just added to the card, Bruce. So I'm very excited to call a CJJ match with the California Kid coming up Sunday in Cancun.
Are you going to be announcing it?
I am, yes, sir.
Put some juice behind that.
The California Kid.
There you go. Not bad. There you go. Very cool.
I'm just trying to be you, Buff.
Okay. Wow.
Just like every other ring announcer in the world. A cheap knockoff.
Big mistake. Be yourself. Own style.
I don't jump, Bruce, for nobody.
That's all right. I don't jump for anybody either, but I certainly did Saturday night. It felt good.
Like a freaking
when I announced Dustin Poirier's name and I said Poirier, I realized I went Poirier. I jumped like 3 times. I'm like, it's just my body just did it. It's funny how that happens.
Well, that's the thing. You always talk about how you don't rehearse and it just comes out. And I think that is what is so, I don't want to butter your bread too much. I hate when I do this, but it's magical and it's part of the experience, Bruce, because, you know, I've been to a lot of UFC events and for a long time, we didn't even get to see you, you know, doing your thing. They didn't put you on camera as much as they did.
I know.
But that energy is carried through. And, you know, I was able to be in that building and I made sure to actually, you know, get inside the main floor to watch the co-main and main event introductions. And yeah, you were on fire, Buff.
Thank you to you. That's like the first time you've been live in arena, right?
No, I've been in the building, but I'm not in a area generally that I can actually see the octagon.
Gotcha.
In a room with a television. But like I said, the buzz was so palpable on Saturday. I mean, I was willing to get kicked out of the building before I was going to miss some of that stuff.
Well, don't try to kick me out of that building. I'll fight my way back into that octagon.
I know.
I had so much fun. But anyway, enough about me. Another little thing on the what's that?
I think Miesha's back. She's just got a
Miesha.
I gotta turn my camera back on.
There we go.
Thanks for waiting on me, guys. So my internet has been so finicky today. I don't know if it's a weather thing or what it is, but I was doing a radio show again this morning and I was cutting out. And so anyways.
Hey, the mark of a champion, down but never out, Miesha.
Happy to have you back, Miesha. Miesha, I text you something. My brother, we've been working with Paramount on this movie called Rumble, this animated film that was just released yesterday on Paramount Plus. It's a big movie. It was supposed to come out the beginning of this year. It was delayed for COVID. The name's Rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. We've been working with them very closely on licensing and the whole bit. I'm very happy with what our associates at Paramount have come out with. Yeah.
There it is.
Your kids will love it. Your kids will love it.
Okay.
Yeah. So check it out.
I will do that. So wait, where do we watch it at?
On Paramount Plus, their app.
Plus.
It's exclusively on Paramount Plus.
So is that like do you sign up for it? Is that like a Disney Plus or something? I don't have Paramount Plus yet.
Yeah, it's one of those ones. It's another few bucks a month to get it, but that's the way they're all making money these days because, you know, the movie theaters are still kind of iffy.
I think it's like $7.99 a month. But Miesha, if you want to watch this, I think you get like a week free if you want to go check that out.
I might just do that then. Oh yeah, this looks cute. I'm watching this like little.
Yeah.
It's animated. Okay.
Oh, it's a total animated production. It's a big, expensive, you know, production they put together.
Oh, fun. Yeah. I'm sure my kids would like that.
I'm curious, Miesha, what's your like guilty pleasure? What is the one thing your kids watch that as an adult you're not supposed to like, but you can't turn away when it's on?
Oh, for TV? I was like, for TV or for food? Because food, I have a list. This might be complicated.
Well,
Frozen. And it's annoying to me because I don't even really, I mean, it's a, you know what? It's a great Disney movie, actually. I will give it its credit, but sometimes you just get sick of hearing the song. But it's like I'm a moth to a flame and I have to watch it every single time that it's on. I just can't help it. It's very captivating. But I love that movie because it might be the first Disney movie that has like shows why it's not a good idea to just fall in love and get whisked off by a prince, and like she kind of finds out, oh, he's not who I thought I was, like maybe this isn't my sole purpose in life. Like a lot of the old Disney movies, right? That was kind of the thing, like Snow White, everyone had to be saved by a prince and these women were kind of helpless, and they needed this is the first movie that's very empowering. Elsa is she's on her own. She never had another partner, right? And then Anna, she fell in love with this guy. She was kind of naive and it didn't turn out to be the guy. And anyways, so I actually really like the storyline. It's very empowering for women. But if I was going to say that's kind of like the one thing that I kind of end up watching and I don't mean to, that would be that one.
What is the title of that film again?
Frozen.
What's the title again?
Frozen.
Oh, Frozen. Excuse me. Yeah.
The Frozen movie. I don't know if that's a guilty pleasure. The other guilty pleasure of mine that I really enjoy watching was Handmaid's Tale.
Oh yeah, I've heard a lot.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
I really enjoy that one. I'm waiting for it. I've been so out. TV has not been my thing lately. I would say lately, like the past year or year plus at least. I've never been a big TV person. But the other thing is Dexter. Right.
Love
so
it.
Came out with that new season. So I watched the first episode during my weight cut day and the day of the fight before that. So I've got that first one. But since then I haven't been able to touch a TV. My butt does not hit a seat all day long. I'm running around after kids. The only time I get to sit down is when I do radio. And other than that, I'm on the go. I don't really get to watch TV. So I'm big about podcasts though, and audiobooks. Is your book out on audiobook, Bruce?
No, strange. You would think it would be, right? But no, it's not. It's not.
Oh, come on. With your voice, you've got to do it, please, because that's really the way that I'll be able to hear your story. Because I don't sit down and read very often, but I'll clean the house and I'll throw the audiobook on, or I'll throw a podcast on and I listen on the go because I'm always on the go. I'll throw it on when I'm driving. That's how I get most of my news and entertainment and information, is by listening.
Well, more motivation for me to make it happen. Now I think maybe I will do it.
Bruce, I know an audio engineer that could help you out. He's on right now.
Yeah, that's fine. But you know what? We're in the business of coin. Okay. So deals have to be made.
Obviously. That's why we're going to sell it once we record it.
Making it happen.
There's ways to get paid before you record it, TJ.
Fine.
That's the way I work.
Hey, real quick with the Frozen tip. I know you're good friends with Cindy Dandois. I remember her in Victa Fight where she dressed up as Elsa and made the walk. I loved that so much.
Oh yeah, she's all about the kids and inspiring kids to follow their dreams, which I can appreciate, especially now becoming a mom. At one point, I didn't know if I was ever going to be a mom. I was kind of indifferent about it. And now that kind of blows my mind that I was ever in that place where I was like, I don't know if I want kids. It depends who I meet. I just didn't want kids with my ex, and that's what I knew at the time. And then I met Johnny and I was like, I think I want to have your babies.
There you go. Of course, you met the man that you wanted to have the babies with. I think it's great.
Well, he's an exceptional father too. He's an exceptional father. He's very involved. He's very hands-on. He loves his children. And he's a great partner for me. He makes my life easier when I'm taking care of the kids, when I'm doing the things because I very much take that maternal role. And I know that can be split differently depending on the dynamic of a household, but still for me, I'm very much the maternal. I make the decisions on everything. I do the sleep training. I change the primary of the diapers. I decide what they eat. I fix their meals. But a big part of that is a control issue for me too. So I'm like, get out of the way. Like, mom's making the decisions here. Like, I get to call the shots, and he is very supportive of that. So he lets me make these decisions, but he supports me in all the other ways to make it all happen. So
love it.
Fantastic man. I'm sorry to all the other ladies out there who will never get to have Johnny, because I'm not gonna let him go anytime soon.
Listen to that, man. If that is not a build-up and a compliment, I don't know what is. So when and will you guys walk down the aisle of love forever officially getting married. Is that in your future, or are you just happy the way it is?
So we got engaged, and yeah, so we are officially engaged, and we we're aiming for something in 2023, but I don't want to be stressed out planning my wedding. And I feel like right now we have so many moving pieces. We got to kind of see how the kids start to, if they can, I don't know if what the school thing is going to help change. And my career is a big part of it too. Obviously that's going to take priority right now, because I don't plan on doing this for a really long time. I came back committed to 2 years. That could change. I could definitely see it easily being 3 years, but if I go out there and I accomplish my goals and I do what I want to do sooner than that, then I might just get out too and focus only on being a mom. And actually what I want to do after fighting, which I'll probably do multiple things, but I want to become a doula. You guys know what that is?
What, please?
That's an at-home, someone that helps someone have birth at home, correct?
Right. It's an emotional support. So think of like a birthing coach.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't have anything to do with delivering the babies, but I would help women stay in the right mindset and, if they needed whatever they need to get there, because that is a journey. The labor itself and being pregnant and all that stuff is a journey. I had such different experiences with my first. So I was in labor for 3 days with Amaya. I approached that labor and delivery with the mindset of a fighter, and I fought my own body. I fought fire with fire, and it was not a good thing. I did end up not being able to deliver at home, in the sense that I wasn't progressing. I went to the hospital. It didn't work out exactly how I wanted, but I took so much away from that. My son, I did everything different. I prepared my mind differently to fight fire with water, and I became the water. And we had the baby in 3 hours at home on accident in our bathroom floor. So that was
3 days compared to 3 hours. My goodness.
We did not expect it to go that fast, but that is the power of the mind. And I want to share that with women across the world, because coming from the place where I use my mind so for one objective in fighting, then I realized how to harness that for birth and labor. And we can do that. I mean, this doesn't just apply to women. Obviously, this is people in general. The mind and mindset are very powerful, but I think there's something so special and amazing about being able to build and bring a baby into the world in the most empowered way. And I want to help families do that. It's a big part of it is the men too, right? I mean, the men have to feel like, so because guys get nervous when they're Johnny, when I told him, I was like, I think I want to have this baby at home. He was like, oh my God, he just got so stressed, because like, what am I going to do? The pressure falls on the men. They feel like if something happens, it's my fault. I am the caretaker. When you are in labor, I have to make sure everything else works. That's where the doula comes in to be like, hey, go have a glass of water, go downstairs for 15 minutes. I got this, I want to help the whole dynamic flow better. And I just think that might be my next calling in life.
Let me step back a second, because I'm still digesting 3 hours having a baby on the bathroom floor. Okay. I'm still digesting this. So obviously no epidural, no, it was like you just did it. Right.
It was the most incredible experience. My mind was in such a good place that the science behind it is, if you can get the endorphins, the hormone endorphins, that feel good hormone, pumping in faster and more effective than like your pain, essentially, it kind of docks to the same receiver, so it blocks pain from even happening. That's why when you adrenaline
froze again.
It doesn't matter what your mindset is when the internet
do the same thing in a
There
way.
she is.
Back.
Oh, okay, it's back. Oh, I hope it's gonna stay for a second. But when you hear these crazy stories about people doing things when they have adrenaline, lifting a car off their kid, and you're like, what? How did that happen? Well, it's because the pain was being blocked, because those receivers have already been docked by those adrenaline or whatever other hormones. Well, if you can do that with endorphins too, you can have a relatively pain-free birth. And that's the experience that I had my second time around. And I almost felt like I was high. It was amazing.
Well,
if that's not proof that Miesha Tate can take a punch, I don't know what is.
Well, I was just going to say, you talk about mindset, Miesha, and I think, the power of the mind and the endorphins that your brain will release. That's the most powerful drug in the world.
Yes,
if you can prepare yourself and make yourself, get to where you need to be mentally, I mean, we can conquer all things.
Anything and everything. So everything is possible. And I love it. And thank you guys so much for having me on today. It was always so much fun to chat with you. You guys are awesome.
Thanks, Miesha. It's just we've been friends for a lot of years, professional friends and friends otherwise. And I'm just so enamored of you, and I'm such a big fan of you. And I'm even a bigger fan now, getting to know you even more with your look and your insights into life. And just much success to you, being a mom, being an amazing partner, to Johnny and everything else that goes with it. Just keep it on, keep it rolling, because you're moving
I
perfectly.
appreciate that, Bruce. And I could say the same for you. You've been in this game for so long. You are the voice of our sport, in my humble opinion. And I'll never forget when we were in Brazil, and I was in the workout room, and I think you had just got there, and I was like, "Oh, Bruce, you're working out." And you're like, "I just got off the plane, and I've got to work out, and I've got to stay healthy and fit." And I loved your mindset, because you don't have to do that, and a lot of people forget to take care of themselves. And I always appreciated the fact that it was just cool. That was just an experience. I remember that you were off the plane and you were in the gym, and I was like, that's really cool, because you don't have to be. And a lot of people wouldn't take that time to make sure that they were taking care of themselves. So preach. I love that. And TJ, it's always a lot of fun too. And the last time we worked together in Victa, I think we've done one interview since then, but damn, a lot to be learned. You are great at your job, and you're always a spectacular interview. You are definitely one of those that I say thinks outside the box and easy to have a conversation with. So I definitely appreciate that whenever we do sit down and get to chat.
Thanks, Miesha. I appreciate that. Hopefully we'll see you later tonight, maybe at the Apex for the Fight Pass Invitational.
Yes. Send me the information.
Will do.
All
Miesha,
right.
thank you again for all your kind words. Future wedding gift is make sure I can introduce you and Johnny into the reception. Nice video, just make it really a big banger for you. I'm there for you. And again, if you ever want your children commemorated, I'm there for you. I'm always in your corner, Miesha. Thank you so much. And happy holidays. Happy holidays.
Thank you. I have my Bruce Buffer bobblehead, by the way, hanging on my tree.
That's awesome.
Love
blessing,
it. Okay,
blessing
guys.
the Tate household. I love it.
For sure. You're always represented. All right. Take care, and happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever it is that you celebrate, enjoy it.
See you,
Celebrate love and happiness. Love and happiness.
Always.
Big cheers. Bye, Miesha.
There she is.
Class act all the way through.
No,
honestly, we talk about Ronda, launching and really getting women's MMA to the forefront. Miesha had a huge part of that.
I mean, without Miesha Tate, the Ronda Rousey story is sort of, missing something, because
it's missing a key element.
Right. Yeah. Because the great champions have always had a rival, right. Always. And Miesha Tate, filled that role. Whether you loved Miesha or, didn't like Miesha, she was essential to the rise and success of Ronda Rousey. And, for Miesha to, rally back from that defeat, to capture a UFC championship, to walk away from, being an active competitor, to coming back and still being a top shelf competitor who may very well fight for another UFC championship before it's all said and done. She's an inspiring person inside and outside of the octagon.
Absolutely. No question. A lot of competition in that division. But I do believe that she's going to get that shot. And listen, we'll just keep watching. It's so cool to have Miesha on the show. And
here's the thing that we're, the elephant in the room is we're talking about a potential title fight for Miesha Tate down the road. She lost her last fight. And I bring that up because
had she won.
What's that?
Because had she won.
Right. But let me just say, mixed martial arts is one of those sports where when you compare it to boxing, a loss in boxing is sometimes career ending, even just one or two, close to one another. But Miesha Tate is someone who, she lost to Ketlen Vieira, but was incredibly game, incredibly competitive, and is someone that is always 1 or 2 wins away from being back in that title picture, because she is, a legend in the sport, to be honest with you. And, we'll see what happens. Win, lose, or draw, though, Miesha Tate, I think, is more comfortable with who she is as a human being and an athlete, more so than she ever was, even when she was a champion. And, that's the real victory in life, Buff.
I agree with you completely. I can't even add any of those words. I think you said it perfectly. I'm nothing but enamored of Miesha. I know people that say, one of my closest friends, she's like, the only reason she really got into this is because of Miesha. It was her driving force. I mean, so Miesha deserves a lot of credit for what she's done and bringing eyeballs to the sport and women's MMA at the forefront. So Kudos to her. Kudos to watching her as her career progresses and everything else she's doing. A couple of things on the, great to have her on the show today. Let's sign off, TJ, but what I want to go over a couple of items real quick, if I may.
Sure.
Let's see here. Speaking of women, America's largest police force, the New York police force, will be led by a woman for the first time ever. Going to have a female police chief.
Interesting.
I love it. More power to her. It's, women can be president, women can have police chiefs. So
women can do everything.
Everything. So her name is Kishant Sewell, and she was the Nassau County Chief of Detectives, and now she's going to be the New York City Police Department police commissioner. Kudos. I love it.
I can't imagine a more difficult job in this time. It's a time where, law enforcement is embracing a lot of things and overhauling certain sort of priorities and protocols. And that's a job, honestly, Bruce, I personally would never, ever want. But, hopefully she's the right woman for the job.
I just think it's a complete positive move. Another, Bruce Springsteen sold his masters and publishing rights to Sony, $500 million.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I actually would have thought it would have been more, but enjoy your 500 mil. Not that you don't already have 500 mil, Bruce Springsteen, but enjoy it.
$500 million check is nothing to scoff at.
Nothing to scoff at. The Jacksonville Jaguars head coach was fired after he kicked a player in practice, allegedly.
Urban Meyer?
He's only there for 13 games.
Yeah.
Yes, Urban Meyer.
Yeah,
Urban
well,
Meyer.
I mean, he's one of the legendary coaches in college football. He came under some controversy for a video that was leaked from him at a bar, and sort of his actions with a young woman being a bit unorthodox,
A little too aggressive,
right? And obviously that sort of infamy has followed him onto the football field with the Jaguars this year. And that's crazy to hear that he may have kicked an athlete like that. What are you doing, man?
I don't know. Again, allegedly. So we'll see what's
sure.
up. Two other quicks, live update. One in every 100 U.S. citizens has died of COVID-19. One in every 100 U.S. seniors, as updating through data shows, has died of COVID-19.
Yeah.
And Cornell University reports more than 900 COVID-19 cases this week, which many are the Omicron variant cases. I just got boosted the other day. Didn't have too bad of an effect from it.
No, I hear the booster is better than the second dose of the original.
I think it depends on the individuals.
It all depends on the individual.
Brian had the booster, kind of screwed him up for a few days, and other people I know, I got through it okay. But it might also because they told me I had the Regeneron when I had COVID a couple of months ago. I had that Regeneron antibodies put in my system. So I might have just a lot of antibodies right now. Right. And I might have gotten it too soon. They're saying I may have to go back and get it again in February.
Well, I mean, you got to do what you got to do.
Whatever it is, it is. This
is one of the, that stat that you threw out there, 1 in every 100
scary
citizens. That's crazy. But also, I'm a relatively young man. I'm 38 years old. Someone that I went to high school with, I saw on Facebook, passed away from COVID. And, you think about, we always talk about the at-risk people, the immunocompromised and the elderly. But to hear about someone I know, someone that's not even 40 years old, pass away from COVID, like it makes me grab the hand sanitizer a little more often than I would otherwise.
I'm invited to an incredible Christmas party this weekend where there'll be 200 people down in Laguna Beach.
Right.
Out in the open.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go so bad.
Right.
Because great people are going to be there.
Sure.
And I'm probably going to, but I'll be in a mask, but it's going to make me a little cautious.
Well, I mean, that was the other thing too. Like when you caught COVID, it was surprising to me because, we've talked about this. You were the first person to actually take this thing seriously in my life, honestly. And I remember I was telling you over and over again, Bruce, don't worry about it. It's just the news. They're trying to scare you. But, talking to, mutual friends like John Anik, like he's, testified that you are insanely careful, especially when, meeting the public and keeping your distance and, apologetically saying, I'm sorry, I don't want to take my mask off for a photo,
right.
And, fist bumps. Like when you got it, Bruce, I was like, man, that truly anybody can get this.
It's the way it is. Just still keep your protocol, keep your safety, live your life, but just be careful. And there's a lot of holiday gatherings. I don't want to paint.
We talked about this with Dr. Davidson. Like, I don't know when normal will ever return or if it will ever return.
He said it's a 5-year plan, but it remains to be seen. I'll say it again. We're guinea pigs every day. Just be careful. Do what you can.
Don't stop living, but
don't stop living.
Don't be careful.
But don't be stupid.
Yeah.
Don't stop living, but don't be stupid. Okay, with that note, let's sign off.
I'm looking at the
Oh, wait, I got to tell you one more.
okay.
This is crazy. The 90 Day Fiance, Stephanie Matto, her name is.
Right.
She's made $100,000 selling. Try to guess what she was selling. You won't be able to.
I think I know. Is this
Farts in a jar.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I mean,
What is wrong
really?
with people? Why would you want this?
That's all. Don't say anymore.
Like,
That's it.
Gross. Stop it.
I don't get it.
We're worried about COVID, and now people are like farting in jars and stuff. I don't know. I was looking at the date here. It's December 16th as we record. Next week, we're closing in on Christmas and the holidays, so we're gonna have to figure out a recording schedule here. I don't know what your holiday plans are. I'm around, Bruce. I'm always down.
I'll be in town. I'm going to probably go out of town after the holidays. I may even go skiing in Colorado, but
nice.
for the first time in 8 years.
Be careful. We need you.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll brace up. But I was just thinking about getting away and being in the mountains, having a nice trip.
Do it. It's the perfect time of year for it. And, you always say, I mean, I'm sure we're going to be on, but, finish the year strong to start the year strong. And I think we'll probably do that here on its time, but
we will. We'll settle up. Maybe we'll have Sammy on for a Christmas show at the end of the year, but we'll figure that out next week.
Pearl Gonzalez wants to come back on the show.
Who?
Pearl Gonzalez.
Pearl too. Fine. You have Sammy and Pearl.
Sammy, yeah. I think Ray, Pearl, and Sammy would be a riot if we ever wanted.
If you want to put that together, we'll do an end of the show next week. Put it together. Let's do it.
We might break the internet.
Let's do it.
But before the internet is broken, I want to encourage everyone to head over to UFC Fight Pass. As they hear this, it'll probably be already in the can. But the UFC Fight Pass Invitational is live tonight here in Las Vegas. An exciting team-based tournament. Teams of 4 competing for a $25,000 prize and bragging rights. And as I mentioned, some stars on the card as the former UFC lightweight champion Benson Henderson takes on the Killer Bee, Ben Saunders. So please check that out, whether it's live on Fight Pass or on demand.
And for me, basically the new Rumble movie, Rumble the movie has been released again on Paramount Plus.
I'm going to watch this. Yeah,
definitely. And I think you showed a clip earlier in the show. It's going to be very, very cool. I sent you a clip to show.
Yep, I will make sure we get that. We'll do it on the back end of the show.
Yeah, no problem. And again, the show is brought to you by Puncher's Chance, the fastest selling, highest rated bourbon in America today. I'm happy to say I'm a partner in. I love Puncher's Chance. Get it for the holidays. Check out at Puncher's Chance Bourbon on Instagram. It'll tell you everywhere where you can buy it throughout the United States. Everybody, we have another week until Christmas, which means the holidays have started, which means all I do is wish all of you the best. Big cheers, no fears. We'll be back next week. When you set on that path to be yourself, to be the best you can be, to set your goals, I hope you have them written down. I hope you know everything about them. So you are and perform at your best, because then you're winning. And that's what we're all about, just like with Miesha Tate, who is a winner personified and a role model to the masses. Thank you, Miesha, for coming on the show. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. We love you all. Happy holidays. Be back next week. Buffer out. Go get them.